Yo, what's going on, TikTok? Good morning. It's your boy Uche again. Do not waste your time forming symbiosis, as in relationship with people that you don't like, okay? People who are not equally yoked with you. Let me break it down. When you are in a relationship with somebody, first of all, you have to work in yourself to become your one whole first. When you become your one whole, by default, you attract people who are one whole. So therefore, you become 1 + 1 = 1 with that person. The reason behind that is there is a saying that you are the average of the people that you interact with. So which it doesn't matter how many people you interact with. Even if it's 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, 5 people, you get exactly what you put into that relationship with that person. So 5 people divided by 5, 1 comes right back to you, okay? So one wholeness comes right back to you. So if you are in a symbiosis with somebody who is one whole, while you are one whole, both of you, 1 + 1 = 1, because 2 of you divided by 2 is 1. So your one whole plus their one whole in symbiosis, you both receive one wholeness back. So therefore, you don't feel drained with that person. So now, alternatively, imagine in a symbiosis with someone who is not one whole. So let's say you're one whole and that person is 75%, okay? Now, first of all, that will be impossible. It will be impossible because the law of reciprocity states 2 things. You cannot give what you don't have, and you cannot attract what you don't give. But hypothetically, even though it's impossible, but let's just imagine that you are one whole and you are in symbiosis with someone who is not one whole. This person is 75%. So that's you and that person, 2 individuals. So 75% of that person and 100% of you divided by 2. That's what's coming back to you. You will be drained because less than 100% will be coming back to you when you are with that person. Let me repeat it one more time. When you are one whole, 1, and somebody else is one whole, 1, you become 1 + 1 = 1 with that person because 2 divided by 2 is 1. The average of both of you in 100% is 100%. So therefore, when you are with that person, 100% comes right back to you. You don't feel drained. But when you are 100% in a relationship with somebody who is 75%, the average of 100% and 75%, mathematics people, please help me out. I don't have this off the top of my head. The average of that is what's coming back to you. As long as you are in symbiosis with this person who is not equally yoked with you, you will be incomplete yourself. You will be drained, and it is impossible. The simple fact that you are in symbiosis with this person who is draining you is evidence that you yourself are not one whole, because it is impossible for you to give what you don't have. And 2, it is impossible for you to not receive what you give. So it's you. So if you are one whole, it is impossible for you to attract something less than one whole. So meaning that every single time you feel yourself with people who are draining, it's you. You are incomplete in your own being, hence why your karma keeps attracting those people who are also incomplete to create pain. Pain for you to recognize that something is wrong so you can go fix it. But if you recognize that pain, but you're in denial of that pain, you create suffering, and that is you. That is your own personal hell, okay? Because alternatively, you are your one whole. And by default, you exude one wholeness, and people who are also one whole are attracted to you. So therefore, when you are with those people, you don't feel drained because you are still in maintenance of your one wholeness, because 2 divided by 2 is one whole. Everyone in that group gets one whole back. It doesn't matter if it's 2 people, doesn't matter if it's 10 people, 1,000,000 people. 1,000,000 divided by 1,000,000 = 1, okay? Every single person in that group gets one whole back. So do not form symbiosis, relationship with people you're not equally yoked with, people you don't like, people you're not in the same energy frequency with at all. See, the issue here is that a lot of people think of this as some type of moral judgment, good or bad. Because you think that it's bad for you to not hang out with certain kinds of people, maybe like family members or whatever the situation is, you want to correct that by being good, being around them, but you feel what you feel. Then this is why I try to tell people to stay away from moral judgment. Do not give moral judgment, because that is not your place. That is only of God. Only God can give moral judgment, because you don't know what the fuck you know. But don't make excuses for what you feel, okay? So when you're in the midst with someone, whether it's brunch, hanging out with that person, doesn't matter who that person is. Do not make excuses for what you feel. If you feel something is off with that person, don't make excuses for it. react accordingly. Don't label it as good, don't label it as bad, because once you label it as any, you suffer. For example, if you label what you feel about this person as bad, your conscience starts to tell you that, I shouldn't feel what I feel about this person because that makes me a bad person. So therefore, you start putting on makeup to try to accommodate, compensate for the fact that you are a bad person, thinking something bad, and you suffer because you're in denial of what you feel. The antidote to this is for you to work on yourself to become your one whole. And I've talked about this before. The best way to influence the world is work on yourself first, okay? Charity begins at home. Once you work on yourself within your belief, that affects your reality because it projects out to your reality. You don't even notice anything else, actually. And this is also how you show love, by the way. If you love someone, for example, if you love me, the best way to show me that you love me is to work on yourself, because I'm doing the exact same thing. I am working on myself unapologetically to be my one whole. If you really, really love me as you claim, you should be doing the exact same thing too. Work on yourself unapologetically so you can become one whole. In your one wholeness and my one wholeness, we recognize each other, and together we form 1 + 1 = 1. This is why Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself. In order for you to love your neighbor, you have to love yourself first. When you love yourself, you're able to understand what that love is within yourself. One, so you can recognize it in that person because you know it in you. And also two, because you recognize it in yourself, you can give it to that person. You're able to speak the language of love. So if you really love me as you claim, Chad, if somebody really loves you as they claim, they need to be unapologetic in working on themselves, okay? If they are not doing that, then that is not love. Sometimes loving someone is understanding that they have a lot of work to do and you're not on the same level. You're not equally yoked with that person, and you leave them alone. Let God keep working on that person. Let them keep becoming their one whole while you stay in your place, okay? It sounds like ghosting, but that is love, okay? Think about it from a literal perspective. Imagine a friend or family member who is physically sick, okay? And this sickness is causing so much pain that it occupies so much of their time that they're not able to be present with you. The best thing for this family member or friend to do is to go to a doctor so that they can heal their pain and then become healthy enough to come back so you and that person can have a more genuine, present relationship in the moment. But alternatively, if this friend or family member does not go to the hospital, but then they are in pain in front of you and constantly complaining and suffering, that is draining because you're not a doctor. If they really love you as they claim, they would not be there draining your energy because you're not a doctor. The best thing for them to do is to pack their shit and go to a hospital so that they can get better and come back and be able to maximize time with you. If they don't do that, that becomes narcissism. The same thing is applicable here. In this situation, they have a disease of the mind, okay? Now, I try my best to give a lot of grace because a lot of this is not intentionally by people's faults per se. You know, mental health advocacy is not a big deal in Africa, or especially with Black people. And it's not entirely Black people's fault per se, because a lot of us Black people, we have been so subdued so much that we are constantly on survival mode. So a lot of us come to think of mental health advocacy as some type of luxury, some type of Western thing. But this, I promise you, is necessary. It is important that you heal your mind. Going to church is not enough, especially considering how much religion has messed up so much things. Religion is reeking of so much malarkey today. You need to heal your body, mind, and spirit. All these three need to be in unison, in symbiosis, in balance for you to be a complete human being. The same energy you put in your body in skincare routine, you have to do the exact same thing with your mind and your spirit. And if this family member or friend refuses to get help, proper help, for their sickness of the mind, and they keep draining your energy, you need to pack your shit and leave, because that is not love. That is narcissism. It does not matter how much they try to paint it, try to gaslight you. It is not love, because if they truly love you, they will heal just like you are healing, so that both of you can become 1 + 1 = 1. And if you see yourself getting soppy and getting emotional and getting in your feelings because of this family member gaslighting you, that is also a reflection of the healing that you need to be doing, okay? Because if you're your one whole, you'll be able to see that this person needs help that only a professional can give them, not you. So therefore, look in the mirror, Chad. They can mitigate that pain if they choose to heal through therapy, of course. But you know, my people, we don't do therapy. We thank God. That is not your problem. Keep working on your one whole, and the universe will bring one wholeness back to you. When you are one whole person and you meet people who are incomplete, you don't even bother with them. You don't. You just keep moving. Not because out of judgment, not because out of you think you're better than them. It's just because you're too busy being you and maintaining being you, okay? And people who are in that program with you would naturally gravitate towards you, and you become 1 + 1 = 1 with that person or those people. Uche, peace and love.